Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to, well, cut through the noise and get to what really matters, maybe uncovering a few surprises along the way. Today, we're tackling something you hear debated constantly, and it gets people really fired up. College is a scam.
Oof, yeah, that's a loaded one.
It really is. It taps into this deep frustration that the price tag for college, which just keeps climbing, doesn't always match up with, what you get back.
Right, the return on investment question.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really unpack that. We're going beyond the headlines, looking at the arguments for it and against it. We've pulled together a lot of different views, looking at what we're calling the college value debate, to give you a more nuanced picture to figure this out for yourself.
And that word yourself is so important here, isn't it? Because what we found looking through all the material is that it's just not a simple yes or no. Mm-hmm. The value, it really, really depends on the person, what they study, how much it costs them, what they actually want to do afterwards.
Right. So many variables.
Understanding those different angles, that's what we're trying to lay out today.
Okay, so let's dive straight into the scam side of things. When people are really critical, where does that usually start? Our sources point pretty clearly to one big thing.
Oh, absolutely. The number one thing, almost always, is the cost. The tuition fees just keep going up and up. And it's not just the sticker price, right? It's what that means in reality. Huge amounts of student loan debt for, millions of people.
Yeah.
And that debt, it's not just a bill you pay. It can hang over you for decades. It shapes major life decisions, buying a house, starting a family, everything. It's a massive financial weight.
It really frames the whole discussion, doesn't it? Especially when you weigh that debt against what you might earn. It makes you ask, okay, what if that expensive degree doesn't actually lead where you thought it would? What if the job market isn't really valuing it?
And that's exactly the next point that comes up again and again in the sources. This worry that some degrees, maybe in certain fields, just don't connect to a clear, decent paying job. It's not about blaming the student, It's more like what universities are teaching matching what the job market actually needs right now.
Mm.
You hear this term underemployment a lot. Graduates working jobs that don't need a degree at all, or certainly not the specific one they spent 4 years and a ton of money getting.
Right, like paying for a 4-star meal and getting fast food.
Kind of. Imagine investing all that time and money, maybe taking on debt for a specialized degree, and you end up doing something you could have started right after high school. That gap, that disconnect, that fuels the worthless degree argument.
And that really pushes people to ask, well, is the traditional 4-year university the only way? If it's not always delivering, what else is out there for someone who wants a good career, but maybe without that massive price tag?
Yeah, and our deep dive showed there's definitely a growing interest in alternatives. Practical alternatives. Mm-hmm. We're seeing like a big comeback for apprenticeships. Learning a skilled trade, plumbing, electrician, advanced manufacturing while you're actually working and getting paid.
On-the-job training.
Exactly.
Right.
Plus technical classes. Then you have dedicated trade schools, vocational programs. They offer specific certifications for jobs that are really in demand.
Like what kinds of jobs?
Oh, things like IT support, cybersecurity, maybe healthcare tech roles, automotive repair. Stuff where you need specific skills. And these routes, they're often much faster. You could be working in your field in, say, months or maybe a couple of years, not 4 or more.
And crucially,
you often avoid that crushing student debt that comes with a bachelor's degree. The numbers sometimes show starting salaries in these trades can be as good as, or even better than, some grads from bachelor's programs that aren't super career-focused.
So it's not just the cost or whether the degree leads to a job. Our sources also mentioned some criticism about the universities themselves, right? Like, have they lost their way a bit?
Yeah, that's definitely part of the scam argument, too.
Yeah.
There's this undercurrent, this concern that maybe some universities have shifted their focus. The idea is that maybe there's sometimes more about commercial gain and politics, as some sources put it, rather than just focusing purely on giving a great practical education.
How does that show up?
Well, things like huge administrative costs driving up tuition, or spending fortunes on, fancy dorms, climbing walls, stuff like that, instead of maybe core academic needs.
The amenities race.
Right. Or sometimes curriculum choices that seem, maybe influenced more by politics or trying to market the university than purely by what students need to learn or what employers are looking for. Mm. That perception, that shift, can make students feel like they're paying top dollar for something that isn't quite delivering on the core promise.
Okay. Those are some really strong points against the traditional route the debt, the job relevance, even questions about the institutions. But look, to really get this college value debate, we absolutely have to flip the coin. There's a powerful case for college, too. And when you look at the long game, financially speaking, there's this pattern that just keeps showing up.
That's right.
Yeah.
You really can't ignore the data here. Study after study basically shows the same thing. People with a bachelor's degree, on average, earn significantly more over their lifetime. Way more than people with just a high school diploma.
We're talking big numbers.
Yeah, big numbers. The exact amount varies, of course, depending on the field, the school, all that. But over a whole career, it often adds up to hundreds of thousands, sometimes even $1 million or more in extra earnings. It's not just a little bump. It's a fundamental difference in financial trajectory. More stability, more opportunity, generally speaking.
Okay, so earning power is one thing. But what about just finding and keeping a job? Does a degree help with stability and opening doors? Because money isn't everything if you're constantly worried about employment.
That's another key area where the data leans towards college grads. Our sources show they generally have, lower unemployment rates. They're also more likely to be employed full-time compared to people without a degree.
So a safety net, kind of.
In a way, yes. And also a competitive edge. Employers often use a degree as a first filter. It signals certain things, discipline, ability to learn, communication skills, and maybe more importantly, it's often the basic ticket you need to even get into certain fields. Think about engineering, advanced sciences, finance, lots of healthcare roles. Without that degree, those doors are just closed.
Right. It's not just about getting any job, but getting into specific career path with maybe more room to grow.
Exactly. Higher potential, often more security too.
Now, it's easy to get stuck on the money side of things, but our deep dive also kept pointing out benefits beyond the paycheck. What about personal growth, professional development?
Yes, and this is maybe harder to measure, but it's consistently highlighted as a major value. College is seen as this, incubator for really important skills. Things like critical thinking, really analyzing information, complex problem solving. Communicating effectively, both writing and speaking.
Skills employers want.
Absolutely. Employers value these like crazy because they make people adaptable, effective in different situations. But beyond skills for work, there's the whole experience.
Yep.
Being exposed to, different ideas, different perspectives, people from totally different backgrounds than your own. That can really broaden your worldview, make you more culturally aware, maybe more curious about the world. It's personal development that lasts a lifetime, way beyond any specific job.
That makes sense. It's about becoming a more rounded person, not just an employee.
Precisely.
And then finally, despite all the talk about alternatives, which are valid, there's just a practical point. Some careers, you just need the degree, right? No way around it.
Absolutely. Our sources are crystal clear on this. For some professions, college isn't just helpful, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable. Think about doctors, lawyers, engineers. These fields have really strict rules, licensing, accreditation. You have to have certain degrees, usually a bachelor's, often more advanced ones too.
You can't apprentice your way to being a brain surgeon.
Exactly right.
Okay.
You just can't. For those kinds of highly specialized, regulated jobs, university is the essential starting point. It gives you that deep theoretical knowledge you absolutely have to have.
Okay. So, we've gone through some pretty choppy waters here in the college value debate, heard strong points on both sides. It's definitely not a simple yes or no, is it?
Right.
We've got the heavy weight of debt, the risk of maybe not getting the job you hope for versus these, other paths like trades. But then we also have the clear data on higher lifetime earnings, better job security generally, and that personal growth aspect, which is harder to quantify, but really important.
And that really leads us to the main takeaway, the thing that kept coming up across all our sources, which is the value of a college degree just isn't the same for everyone. It's not one size fits all. It never really has been, perhaps.
It really depends.
It really depends on you. What field are you interested in? What specific school are you looking at? And what does it cost? What are your actual career goals? Your personal ambitions? Figuring out that personal equation, that's the absolute key to making a smart choice about higher ed today.
So this deep dive, we tried to pull back the curtain a bit. Get past the simple scam or no-brainer headlines, hopefully showing you the different sides, the real worries about cost and jobs, alongside the real evidence for long-term benefits, both financial and personal, gives you a better framework.
It's a huge decision with impacts that last a lifetime.
Absolutely. So maybe the final thought we leave you with as you think about your own path, or maybe you're advising someone else.
In this job market that's changing so fast, how do we strike the right balance? How do you weigh that traditional path of higher education against the very real need for specific skills and, maybe most importantly, doing it all in a way that makes financial sense? How do we manage that balance prudently?